Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel Chess Professor. So I am starting a series where in each video I will be rating one chess opening. I will be telling you the pros and the cons of that opening, and I will be explaining that through examples of positions on of that opening, and then I will be rating that opening on the tier list. So I am starting this with the Italian game, which comes after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6 and bishop to c4. So the pros of this opening is that first is our development of the knight, bishop and castling, which can put our king to the safety. These three things matters a lot when we start an attack. After starting an attack, if our king is put to safety by castling, like if I show you, let me just show you through an example itself. In this position, we have castled, and two of our pieces are also developed. We also have control to this d5 square and e4 square. We can strike in with d4. This is called the Duke's Gambit. So, the Duke's Gambit is an immediate attack at move 5, as you can see here. So, this is an attack at move 5 where even if most probably our attack will be an successful attack, but even if our attack fails, our king will not be threatened to checkmate. Why? Because it is 40, and secondly our attack will have most chances of being successful. Why? Because we have two pieces developed and we have a pawn in the center, which means that we have somewhat and piece activity, and we play d4 attacking at move 5 with the Duke's Gambit. So now the second thing is that immediate pressure on the f7 square. Mainly, also the pressure is also on the e5 square, but mainly on f7 square. There are lots of tactical sacrifices in many positions, like in the Ivan's Gambit position, or even in positions like this, fried. We are using this pressure on of f7, where we put pressure by the knight and by a knight and a bishop, and as you can see we have a lot of pressure going on at the f7 square, and there are most probably our opponent will lead to being trapped by the fried liver attack at beginner level. I'm talking about right now. Our and we will and white will win the game. For example, if your opponent is scared by playing moves such as h6, we can just capture this pawn on f7. Rook, queen, rook and the queen are forked, and we are gonna win one of the pieces, and we are gonna win the game. Why? Because we will have an extra pawn. Let's just continue with the most common moves. See, even though your opponent can capture this pawn, after that, if we see we have an extra rook. I don't know if you can see this, but just by counting, we have an extra rook on h1, and even though the pawn balance is equal, but we might win that pawn back in some cases. But except that we have a better position as we have an extra 5 points by an rook. This shows the pressure on the f7 square mainly. The pressure can be also shown on the e5 square through positions of the Greco Gambit, center attack. The Greco Gambit is this mainly Greco attack, Greco Gambit. But by this center attack in the Gucho piano or Guco piano, we can see our pressure on e5 square. So yeah, this is all about the immediate pressure. After that, this can be used as a tactical weapon or a positional weapon. By tactical weapon, I mean by many tactical variations like after bishop to c5 bit, the center attack, Greco attack, or the Portsmouth Gambit at d5, or something like there might be even more gambits, but I just know these much. And even after this knight to f6, we can have g4 or knight to g5. These two are also the tactical options, and the positional option. There is only one, but it is really strong, which is the Gucco pianismo, which is c3 d3. This can be played if the knight is moved first by first playing d3 and after that playing c3. This is the Gucco pianismo, the best positional position. And the last is, so now let's talk about the cons. So the cons are the predictability in club games. As you can see, this is the most common move. 43% according to the Leeches database. In the Masters database, 21% by 1.8k players. In Leeches, 8 182 million players play bishop to c4. There are numbers also on the chess.com database, the chess based database, or any other database also. So yeah, this is a very common opening. So it has a chance of predictability, even though this is not a huge disadvantage, as just by preparing enough you can easily win with the Italian game. And the second con, which is according to me both an good thing and a bad thing for us, are the amount of sidelines and the amount of variations. For example, how can it be a good thing? It can be a good thing. Ivan's Gambit, the Greco attack, Cosmith Gambit, two knights gambit, side lever attack. So there are many options. So it could be that your opponent is not prepared enough against this opening, as you can choose between many options, and many of these options are even not really common. For example, the bird attack, pawn to b4. If we see, pawn to b4 isn't even like, pawn to b4 is played, but not that much like pawn to b4. So sorry, this is the black's turn. Really sorry. Where is? See, 3% players only play pawn to b4, which is the bird's attack. It is an really uncommon one. Even on the side, you can't see this, but I have an wiki book like on the Leech's analysis board by Tools analysis board. You can check. Error type error failed to fetch because this is a really uncommon move. Pawn to b4. So pawn to b4. So there are many uncommon options for white, but the same goes for black. For example, in this position, f5 is just played by 2% of the players, and just see the win rate, 51% against 46%. Not only the win rate, the Russo Gambit, even though the engine says it's worse for black, but the Russo Gambit has high attacking opportunities. This is somewhat like the Latvian Gambit, e4, e5, knight f3, and f5. Improved version of the Latvian Gambit. And what am I doing? Sorry. And the Russo Gambit is also a really uncommon option. Most of the white players will not be prepared against this. There are also other options in some variations, like in the Evans Gambit, there is this variation. Opening Explorer, as you can see, failed to fetch. This is really uncommon, like which we say. And even except that, there are many main variations like the bishop to e7 immediately after taking bishop to e7, sorry, bishop to c5, bishop to a5, bishop to d3, d6, bishop to f1. So there are many after c3, many variations in the Italian game for both black and white, which is somewhat like a necessary evil for both, for like both black and white. It is a necessary evil because black also has to prepare a lot if he wants to play the main lines, and the same thing goes with white. He has to prepare a lot against the sidelines. And according to me, this is the main disadvantage, and this is a huge disadvantage of the Italian game. And this is why, according to me, it should not be played much in master games. Even though it is played, but by master games, I not mean grandmasters. I mean somewhat like 2000 or 2100 elo. They should not play much the Italian game, except if they are prepared enough against many sidelines. So this is all about the Italian game. Now let's rate it on the tier list. So now let's just rate it on our board. So this opening, the Italian game, according to me, can come between legendary and best. So now the areas which we are counting for rating are first, like they are for beginners and intermediate players until 1500 to 1400 to 1500. So according to me, the Italian game will be legendary, because even though this has extensive theory and it is extensively analyzed, most of you or most of the players until 1500 would just play the main lines. And even if they will play the sidelines, most of the sidelines you just have to play mm, normal chess, and in sub sidelines like the Rosso Gambit you have to just prepare some, and you can itself play sidelines. So this is also an advantage. So that's why legendary. And also this is both tactical and positional. So meaning that its play style can can be exchanged or changed according to your choice. And that is the reason why Italian game, according to me, will be an legendary opening. If you want, you can just tell me in the comments if it should be in any of the five. I don't think it will come in the last three, in these two. Even if you think it will come in the good, playable, or absolute garbage section, just tell me in the comments. I am rating it legendary, and now just just wait for the next video on the series. I'll be continuing. If you want to learn the Italian game, you can learn from my channel, or there are also other channels like, I won't mention by name, but like many channels, or you could also learn by itself by yourself on Leeches. On Leeches, you can learn by books. There are many places to learn the Italian game if you want it to be your main opening weapon against e4, e5. So let's meet in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like if you like the video, and subscribe for more.